The restaurant had gone silent. The billionaire's son, cold, intimidating, used to being obeyed, stood frozen in disbelief. His mother, the elegant woman beside him, had tears streaming down her cheeks, tears of joy. In front of them stood Maya, the shy waitress everyone used to overlook, her trembling hands holding up a small notepad. But she wasn't speaking. Instead, she was signing, her delicate fingers moving in graceful motions that spoke straight to the billionaire's mother's heart. And in that moment, the impossible happened. The woman who hadn't smiled in years began to laugh. The entire restaurant watched in stunned silence as the billionaire's cold eyes softened, and he whispered, barely audible, "Where did you learn to do that?" Maya blinked back tears. "I just wanted her to feel seen." That night changed everything. Now let's go back to where it all began. Maya Parker had always lived quietly, the kind of girl who melted into the background. She worked long shifts at the Gilded Spoon, an upscale restaurant where billionaires came to dine, and the staff were trained to be invisible. Maya wasn't like the other waitresses. She wasn't loud, she didn't flirt with the rich customers, and she rarely made eye contact. Most nights, she just tried to survive, taking orders, cleaning up, saving every dollar for her mother's medical bills. But what no one knew was that Maya carried a secret. When she was 13, her little brother Noah had lost his hearing after a high fever. Since then, she'd spent years learning sign language so she could talk to him. It was their secret world, a language of love and silence. That skill, unnoticed by everyone, would one day change her life. One Friday evening, everything shifted. The restaurant buzzed with whispers, "The Devereaux family is coming." Everyone knew who that meant. The Devereaux were practically royalty, owners of half the skyscrapers downtown. The son, Adrian Devereaux, was rumored to be ruthless in business and even colder in person. And his mother, Eleanor, had lived out of the public eye for years after losing her hearing in an accident. "Don't make mistakes tonight," the manager barked. "These people can buy and sell this place 100 times over." Maya felt her stomach twist with nerves. She didn't want attention, she just wanted to do her job quietly. When the Devereaux entered, the air changed. Eleanor was stunning, silver hair pinned neatly, eyes full of depth and calm. Adrian walked beside her, handsome but distant, tapping on his phone even as people whispered his name. The waiter assigned to their table, a cocky guy named Kevin, groaned when he realized Eleanor couldn't hear him. "Great," he muttered. "How am I supposed to do my job if she doesn't even understand?" Maya felt something burn inside her. Before she could stop herself, she whispered, "I can help." Kevin scoffed. "You, the quiet one, fine, be my guest." Maya walked to the table, heart pounding. Eleanor looked up, curious but cautious. Then Maya smiled gently and began to sign. "Good evening, my name is Maya. I'll be taking care of you tonight." Eleanor's eyes widened in shock, then softened into a smile that lit up the entire room. Her hands moved gracefully as she replied, "You sign." Maya nodded. "I learned for someone I love." Adrian looked up from his phone, confused at first. Then he watched as his mother's face glowed with joy he hadn't seen in years. For the first time in a long while, she was laughing not because of words, but because someone had finally spoken her language. The restaurant fell silent, everyone watching this unexpected connection unfold. Adrian said nothing, but his gaze followed Maya the entire evening. Later that night, when the guests had gone and Maya was cleaning the tables, a man in a suit approached her. "Miss Parker," he said, handing her a card. "Mr. Devereaux would like to see you tomorrow at his estate." Maya froze. "Me? Why?" "He'll explain." She stared at the card, the embossed gold letters shining under the light. Adrian Devereaux, Devereaux Holdings. Her life was about to change, though not in the way she expected. The next morning, Maya arrived at the Devereaux mansion, her hands shaking. She expected luxury, but nothing prepared her for the towering gates, the marble fountains, or the way the staff bowed when she entered. Adrian was waiting in the grand hall, looking every bit the billionaire tailored suit, emotionless eyes. But when he saw her, his expression softened slightly. "Thank you for what you did yesterday," he said quietly. "My mother hasn't smiled like that in years." "It was nothing," Maya murmured. "It wasn't nothing," he said firmly. "She's been isolated since the accident. People treat her like she's broken. You didn't." Maya didn't know what to say. Then Alina entered smiling and began signing rapidly. Adrian turned helplessly to Maya. "What is she saying?" Maya smiled and translated. "She says she wants to learn how to bake again, but only if you'll join her." Adrian blinked. "Bake?" Alina nodded, her eyes full of mischief. And so began a series of afternoons that would melt even Adrian's icy heart. Every evening, Maya visited the Devereaux estate, teaching Alina new signs, laughing as they ruined recipes together. Slowly, Adrian began joining them, awkwardly mimicking the hand movements until his mother burst into laughter. Sometimes Maya would glance at him, and for the first time, see not a billionaire, but a lonely son who didn't know how to reach his mother anymore. He wasn't cold, he was afraid of losing the only family he had left. One afternoon, Alina pulled Maya aside and signed softly, "You've given me my son back." Tears filled Maya's eyes. "You gave me something too, Hope." But every story needs its storm. One evening, a photo surfaced online of Maya leaving the mansion. Rumors exploded. Billionaire's son dating his waitress. The restaurant fired her instantly, claiming unprofessional conduct. Adrian's business rivals spread lies, painting Maya as a gold digger. Heartbroken, she decided to disappear quietly. When Adrian found out, he stormed out of a board meeting, furious. He didn't care about the headlines, only that the girl who had brought light back into his mother's world was now gone. He searched every restaurant, every cafe, until he found her at a small diner on the edge of town, wiping tables with tear-streaked cheeks. He walked in, ignoring the whispers. "Maya," he said softly. She looked up startled. "Mr. Devereaux." "No," he interrupted. "Adrian, just Adrian." He handed her a small box. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet, engraved with 3 words in raised braille dots. She ran her fingers over them and whispered, "What does it say?" He smiled gently. "You are heard." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Why me?" Adrian took a deep breath. "Because you listened when no one else did. You didn't just see my mother, you understood her. And somehow, you made me understand too." Months later, Alina's charity for the deaf was launched, with Maya as its co-director. The foundation funded free sign language programs for families across the country. At the opening ceremony, Alina took Maya's hand, signed something, and everyone watched as Adrian translated aloud for the first time perfectly. "She says," he began, voice trembling, "that sometimes angels don't come with wings. Sometimes they come with a notepad and quiet courage." The crowd erupted in applause. And in that moment, Maya realized, being unseen all her life had given her the greatest gift, the ability to see others. Sometimes, the quietest people make the loudest difference. Maya didn't have money or power, just empathy and the courage to care. And that was enough to change not one life, but 2 hearts that had forgotten how to feel.